Hello and welcome to the Bouncing Off the Walls Resin Studio. I'm Christina Vanderwater. This is actually part 3 of my beginner resin coaster making extravaganza. This video today is going to touch on finishing our coasters. If you have just found me via this video, not a big deal because we are going over all the different ways to remove drips regardless of the method that you use to prevent them in the first place. So we did coasters that were wood, we did ones that were made from resin, we did ones that had tape on the back, some had latex, some had Minwax paste. We did all of the above so that we can go over all the different ways and how they work and you can figure out what's best for you. So let's get going. By now you are probably pretty anxious to get finished these coasters. We have done our clear top coat. They are looking pretty decent now. So today we are going to remove the drips, remembering that we have a different method on each of these so that you can see how each one works. And we're going to remove the drips and we're going to finish them off and they will be ready to go. This is also the perfect opportunity to show you what I was talking about yesterday. I realized as I was taking these off, we've caught a spider. He's stuck in the resin. Thankfully, he's down below and not in one of the coasters, but there is something about the resin that the bugs seem to like. And when they get into the tops, it's really hard to get all their little body parts out. So covering your pieces if you can is a great way to keep critters out. RIP little spider. I would not have done this on purpose. I do like spiders, believe it or not. Some of the tools that we are going to use for removing the drips from these coasters, we are going to have our little mini hand sander. We are going to have a paint scraper, deburring tool, and a heat gun. Now, if you don't have one of these hand sanders, you can use just a little scrap of sandpaper. You can use an emery board, nail file type thing. You may not even need this. I don't always need it. It just depends on which method we're doing. Paint scraper, I don't live without mine. If you're going to purchase a tool, purchase a paint scraper. You're going to use it a lot. Deburring tool also might not be necessary, but we're going to have it here just in case. Heat gun, we always want to warm up the resin. It just makes it a lot easier to remove. Also, because we are going to be heating up some resin and it might create a little bit of smoke, a little bit of fumes, we want to wear our mask. We are going to start with our 2 coasters that we made in the mold. This one is the one with the liquid latex. Some of it didn't actually even dry in the middle. That's where I had the standoff, so it didn't get any air to it. That's not a big deal at all. This one was the one that we did the Minwax paste on. One thing about the coasters that were made in the mold, they are a little bit transparent. I know you can't see that very well on video. I'm trying to put something behind here so you can see. However, we're going to put those cork backers on here, so that's not really going to matter much. But what it does is it does create a lot of depth. So even though there's going to be cork on the back, it's going to look like you can see into the coaster, which in real life looks amazing on camera or in a photo is a lot tougher to show. But trust me, when you do it in a mold, you do get a lot of depth because you don't have that wood there blocking the light going through. I'm going to start with the one that has the Minwax paste. For the Minwax paste, I find it actually, sometimes the drips will just pop right off as such. Oh, that one did. The problem, as I mentioned earlier though, is you can get a lot of breakage along the edges if you just snap them off, and then you might get chunks that come up from the side and it's not going to look really nice and finished. You don't want broken pieces that come up. Otherwise, the quality of your piece just isn't there. Now, because we are going to be turning these upside down to get the drips off, we want to put something soft down here. Another thing is we just poured these yesterday. In reality, you should probably wait another day before taking drips off because you want to make sure that resin is fully cured to the point where you're not going to leave marks in it. If it's still a bit soft, it's been actually less than 24 hours for me, then there's a really good chance you're going to get marks in there. If I use a towel, which is what I'm going to actually use, sometimes you'll get little tiny marks from the towel fabric, and I'm actually going to show you how to get rid of some of those if it does happen to you. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take these drips off today anyway, because I don't want to wait another day here to finish this course for you guys. So that is my heads up to you. Wait until the resin is completely cured before you turn it upside down and put anything underneath here, just to keep this surface nice. We don't want to wreck it. I have an old towel here. As you can see, the heat gun has burnt it in a few spots. That's why I'm using an old towel. Don't use your good towels. We're going to flip this coaster upside down. Again, this is the one that was in the mold and I used Minwax paste on, and we are going to just slightly warm it up a little bit. with the Minwax paste, you will find sometimes if you have a really thick layer on there, it will melt a little bit. You can just wipe that off after. If it's on wood, it's going to absorb into the wood, which is actually quite nice. So now that I've warmed this up, I am going to use my paint scraper. For me, it's my preferred method because I get a nice clean edge. So we're going to go around and just slide that paint scraper underneath. If something gets a little stuck, it might just need a little bit more heat. Sometimes if you haven't gone evenly around, or if it's a bit thicker, you just need a little bit more heat. And it should just slide right off of there. Easy peasy. So if you have a little bit, maybe rough edges, you can take the deburring tool and just give that a little bit of a go around. Because this is a coaster and we're going to cover the back with a backer, I'm not too concerned with how the back looks. There is our front side. The resin I use is actually really good. It hardens quite nicely when it cures. So even though I had this upside down on a towel sooner than I normally would, I have no marks in the top, which is excellent. Some of the resins I find even after a few days, they still just don't have that hardness. And a lot of resins will actually tell you their hardness level, which is great. I prefer ones, especially for something like coasters, that does have a higher hardening level, because when people are putting cups and stuff on here, you don't want them leaving all kinds of marks and scratches. Then they're not going to be very happy with the work that you gave them. So there's the drips off for that one. It's a pretty clean edge. We don't need to do much more here. We're going to put this one aside and we're going to do the one that has the liquid latex. Okay, liquid latex. So we've covered the whole bottom of this, and you just need to get a little spot, scratch a hole in it, and pull up what you can by hand before we do anything with the drips. The center of mine is still a little wet, but that is okay. Pull off as much as you can. I try and pull off every little bit that's sticking out, because if I do need to heat this, when the latex gets hot, it's really stinky. So I prefer to not have to heat latex too much. Sometimes with the latex, you'll also have drips that just pop right off, which is amazing. Depending on how many layers you've done, these ones are popping off fairly well, which is great. If you can pull them all off without having to heat anything, that is amazing too. But if you've done a lot of layers, again, like right here, you can see on this drip that if we try and pull that off, it's quite solid onto this side. So we might get a whole tear out here, and we really don't want that, because that's going to result in you needing to do another layer of resin to cover the sides nicely. So I'm just going to take off as much as I can of the latex, and then I'm still going to use the same method of heating it and paint scraper to take those drips off in a nice clean manner. Again, I caution you, obviously, if you have a latex allergy, you do not want to use this method. I would assume if you do have a latex allergy, you've already made that decision for yourself. Okay, we got as much of that latex off as we can, and now we do the exact same thing that we did for the other one, and we warm up those drips. Warm them up, scrape them off. I find it a little bit harder to scrape it super smooth when you have a little bit of latex under there. The scraper wants to get caught on that latex that's underneath, but you can pick that latex off after you get the drips off. And you have quite not a bad edge on this one. Again, I might have to go through with the deburring tool just to make it a little bit smoother. Coasters are somewhat forgiving because we are putting a backer on them. Sometimes there's little tiny lips of resin that come over. I just want to make sure that all of that stuff is off. Most of this is latex, so it just peels off. And if you find the edge a little bit sharp or a little bit rough, then we're going to take that deburring tool again. You can use a sander for this as well. I just caution that you don't go up along the edges or the top, because then you'll have scratches on there. So try and keep your sander just to the back. Another thing is if you try and do this process a little too soon, which I have obviously, so I don't know if I can show this. In this one, there are a few little dents. I can try and catch it in the light to show you. It's really hard to show. So what happens is if this is a coaster, I poured it yesterday, it's probably too soft for me to be flipping over. It might even have some flexibility to it. If that's the case and you get a few little dents on the top, take your heat gun and warm a little bit on the top and you'll actually watch those little dents just disappear. It doesn't need a lot of heat. You don't want to burn it. If that's the case that you have made dents, that is for sure a sign that your coaster or your project was not ready to be flipped over and have the drips taken off yet. This one is also done. We're going to set this one aside and we're going to work on those wooden ones. Okay, here's our tape one. This is my least favorite method, in all honesty. I find the tape really gets stuck under the resin. I don't find it resourceful, economical, or easy. So I never do tape. I have done this tape just for you so you can see. The reason you might want to choose tape for this tutorial is simply because you might already have some at home and you don't want to go out and buy something, and that is certainly the way to go if you're trying to save some money and don't want to spend a lot right away. So with the tape, you can try and peel off what you can. I find if you peel tape off when the resin is still soft, it comes off a little easier. However, we have done 3 days of pours on here, so the first one is from 3 days ago. The tape is definitely stuck under there, but we're going to peel off what we can. Contrary to what you might see on social media when people will post videos of removing tape and the drips just look like they pop off, it's not the way it actually works. They've probably applied some heat already and they didn't show you that part, and they're making it look like everything just peels off simple and easy with the tape, and that is not really the case. Every drip removal method requires a little bit of work. None of them are as simple as just drips just coming off like butter. Similar to the liquid latex, you're going to peel it all off, but it's still going to be stuck under where those drips are. Can we break these ones off too? Yes. Again, I don't want tear out. This one's actually doing that little section was not too bad, but here where our drips are thicker, we risk a little bit of tear out. That one came off not too bad actually. If you can bend it at a 90 degree, these ones aren't coming off too bad. I almost want a tear out to happen so I can show you, and today it's not happening. So we're actually doing pretty good with the tape after I told you it's my least favorite method. It's possibly also because I did not give this the thorough time to fully cure. So resin is still a little bit soft. It's coming off pretty good. However, like I said, even though I haven't experienced the tear out so far on this one, if you spent a lot of time on a coaster and let's say it's an order for somebody or you need to have them out and you want it done and you really don't want to have to throw another layer on there, risking that tear out is not worth it to me. Some of my coasters have way more than 3 layers, so the drips are very thick, and if I were to try and just pull them off like this, I would definitely run into trouble. All right, so I successfully did that one without a heat gun. If the tape does get stuck, you just apply a little heat and it will come off. It's a little bit stuck under that one, so I can apply a little bit of heat. And just be careful if you do apply heat. Sometimes if you've held it for a bit, it can get hot, so just use caution if you're grabbing stuff with your bare hands after you've heated it up. The wood isn't too bad, but I find if you're using resin or a ceramic coaster, it can actually get pretty hot. So you don't want to burn your fingers. All right, we got all the tape off on that one. Now, I still find the edges are a little bit sharp, a little bit rough, and this is where I would come in with my little hand sander and just give a little bit of a sand right around the edges just to make it not so sharp. Even though we're putting a cork backer on, some of those cork backers don't come right to the edge, and you don't want little sharp edges for people's fingers. So I give it a little bit of a sanding. If you get a little edge like that that sticks out, just sand that down so you get a nice smooth edge. And there's our drip removal on that one. And lastly, we got my favorite method, which is that Minwax finishing paste. Again, you can actually pop drips off with this one. This one's gonna go fairly easily, I think, in most spots. It's always a little trickier where the resin's thicker. There's a perfect example of tear out. I'm actually glad that happened because I wanted to show it to you. So I pulled that drip and it pulled a whole chunk of the edge out with it. So now this coaster is going to look like that, and we don't want that. It's got a sharp edge now where the resin has broken, and it wouldn't be a quality product to put out there unless you're keeping it in your own house. So thick drips, I like to use the heat and essentially slice through that so that we are not doing this. And our trusty paint scraper, and it just slides underneath it. For me, this is the easiest method. It's the most economical. 1 can of that Minwax paste goes so far. So it gives it a fairly clean finish. Again, you might want to sand any little sharp edges on that one. We have our tear out, however. So in reality, if I was trying to sell this coaster, this would go into my pile of ones that are now going to need another coat of resin. So what I would do, because it actually pulled it right down to the wood, is I would take some paint. I would paint maybe some purple back in that little spot, and then I would top coat everything again, and it would cover that up. But then again, you're going to need to apply something for drip removal on the back and do that whole process again. So for one little tear out, it's not worth it. So I use my paint knife and a heat gun for almost all drip removals so that I can prevent that from happening. Nobody wants to have to put more resin on something than they intended to because it's expensive. So we want to try and use the least amount possible to get our achieved look that we're going for. Okay, we have our 4 coasters. Right now you could essentially be done, I suppose, but we're gonna finish these off. You can buy these cork backers on Amazon. You can get them in the hundreds. They are a peel and stick backer. Now, one thing you want to make sure is that the size of the coaster that you're doing is the size of the backer. They most often come in the one size, but coaster molds can come in all different sizes. These coasters are actually a little bit bigger than our backer. You can see I don't mind sometimes a little bit of an edge. What I will do so that that edge is nicer is sometimes I will paint the back so that this edge that sticks out is nice and not just the wood. So these are a peel and stick. We're going to flip our coasters over. Each one is a little bit different. Now they're peel and stick. You may want to use a super glue just to add to the adhesive to make sure that they stay stuck on there, but you can peel and stick right onto the back. And that way your coaster isn't going to scratch anything. These coasters are a little bit on the large size. I actually have a coaster here. You can see one of my pieces here that is a little bit smaller and it fits the back nicer. So if you check the size of your coaster mold, now I cut the wood this size for mine simply because the mold I had was that size, so I wanted them all to be the same. But typically I go a little bit smaller. I have a mug here to show you. There is my typical size coaster. It works quite nice, but if you like them a little larger, you can get a bigger mold. I prefer to go with a size that matches my cork backers. If you do want to also glue this on, I really love this Gorilla Super Glue. You can buy it at a lot of hardware stores. You can get it on Amazon. It holds really well and quickly. Don't let it get on your fingers because you will stick your fingers to each other. Another peel and stick. Here's the back of our solid resin ones. Same idea. It actually sticks, these stick quite well to the resin, almost better than the wood. Now you might find, as is the case with these ones, that because this was in a mold, it's almost a little bit concave here. If you find it's too indented, you can always do a top coat on the bottom. I would do your bottom top coat to level things off before your final top coat on the top, because we want this side to look the prettiest. These peel and stick cork backers are fantastic, actually. You can also, if you don't want these, I think you can buy little rubber legs. You can put like 4 of those on here instead. I like these because they kind of cover that whole back and they just look tidy and done. So there is our 4 coasters. 4 different ways of doing them, 4 beautiful coasters. You can see how our fluid art just has a mind of its own and creates some pretty amazing effects. I hope you had fun with this tutorial. I hope you explore and try it more than once with different colors, different techniques, and even get curious in there and start painting some things on here. You could paint little planets, a rocket ship. If you're artistic, you could do all kinds of things. The sky is the limit in this craft, and I hope that you now feel confident to explore and try some new things